What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Rice Acres. So on this episode, which is going to be over a duration of whatever it takes me to do this by myself, 515 feet of fencing to do. I'm going to do 75 feet across the front on an angle, which you'll see in this video. And I'm going to do a temporary construction 20-foot opening, and then later on I'm going to enclose that and maybe do big columns around it with like Rice Acre black sign above it or whatever for our main entrance with a motorized gate. But really right now this fencing is going to go down both sides, and then we're going to cut across the front, and it's just going to be a temporary setup across the front for most of the way until we do the finish after the house is done. So it's going to be probably take me, I'm hoping to get this fencing down both sides done maybe over the course of 3-4 weekends. But I'm just going to take you through how I did it. There's 10 different ways to skin a cat, we know that. But let's take a walk down here. I'm going to show you a couple things I did and explain to you what I did. And then we're going to keep installing this fence as this concrete sets up on this first pole. So like I was saying before, there's 10 different ways to do everything that we do in life. But what I did is I got the original orange poles on the right over here is the property line. Down here in South Carolina, you can mount a fence right on the property line. But what we're going to do is we did like a 6-inch offset, and then that's going to be my center line. So really, I'm going to be back off the property line a few inches. So I just laid, 6-inch offset. I laid a string, and I just did a paint line down, so then I could put the center of my drill bit on that line at 5-foot increments. We are using 4x4 posts. I was thinking about doing 6x6s, but as for cost effectiveness, we're doing 4x4s with some 5/4 6-inch boards, 3 of them. Basically, you can see down there, a neighbor started his. Basically the same concept. He has to go back and cut his poles down, but we're cutting them as we go. Our elevation from the front, on this side, from the front property to the back of the property is only a 2-inch difference. So we're just going to ride the property line and keep our posts about 52 inches above 51 inches above the grade, because we have we're going to leave a 3-inch reveal at the top, and I'm going to put some caps on top of this too, some black caps, and we're going to paint this fence black as well. With our offset back here with our line, it's going to basically keep our fence off the property line. Once we do the boards on the front, maybe about 3 inches, 2 inches, so that's fine. So we just did the paint line here, and as I go I can take these poles down. But what I want to do is set up this concrete on this first pole here, and I'm going to put a tape measure on it, screw it to it, 300 footer, and then I can stretch it really tight and get my 5-foot increments. I thought about doing 10 foot, but my plan is if I do every 5 feet, I'm not really as concerned about putting concrete on every post, because I know down the line I'm going to have to fix this. Posts are going to rot out. I did look at sleeves that you can put on the 4x4 post or any of your posts, and the sleeves are like $20 to $50 each per sleeve, so it doesn't give you contact to the ground. Now, would that be a great investment if you don't want to redo it? Most likely, but the sleeves alone would cost more than the material for the fencing would cost. So I just told my wife, if I can get 10 to 15 years out of a section of a fence before I have to redo it, then 15 years from now, when we can financially afford it, because I'm not have to try to build a house at the same time, I may just have somebody come in and do it later at that time. But for right now, we are installing it. So we got 250 feet down this side. We got 190 down that side. We're only going to the back because we got, the woods behind us, so we're not going to put a fence all the way around. This is really just for construction and for the aesthetics of our property. And then from that orange post over there to this post over here is how we're going to run on an angle. And then the middle, basically the center between this post here and where that other post will be over there, will be our opening for our gate, for our construction gate, and also for our permanent gate. As we drive off the road here, we'll come center between us, and we'll kind of go down, with a motorized gate, and go around to our property and pull into our garages, etc. So that's what we got going on. I will explain some things to you as I go, but it's very simple. I did buy a drill with an 8-inch bit on it from Tractor Supply on sale for like $250. So it's made by Pro Run with an 8-inch bit. Now you can get this with a 6-inch bit, 9-inch bit, and you can buy a 12-inch bit for this, but I figured 8-inch would be plenty enough. This is not to hold people back. It's not to hold in dogs or anything. It's just for the aesthetics. So I don't need anything that's super strong, it's a fence. I mean, when it comes down to it, if somebody wants to get through my fence, they could just plow through it, right? But we are using 5/4 10-foot boards, so it's a little bit thicker. They're almost like 1 inch thick, and that's what we're using for our boards. And then we're going to screw it together. I will probably just tack one side with a trim nail just to hold it, since I'm doing this by myself, and then I'll go down and start screwing it in. So what I'm doing now is I'm setting the post at 100-foot mark. And what it's going to do is give me the ability to stretch a string line from this post to the first post. This way, as I set the post in between, I can keep that same line coming down for the fence, and I'm not going like this, you know. So I figured a 100-foot mark would be good to set another post in concrete, and then we can get a string line between it, and we'll be good to go to just keep drilling and all that fun stuff. It's hot and I'm wet. And this inexpensive post level, cool, this goes down with a rubber band. It's very inexpensive. It gives you a bubble level in each direction as you're doing this, so you can get a pretty level as you go. Hopefully I'm close enough to the 100-foot mark. I probably will remeasure it after I get a little bit of concrete poured in there. It's level that way and it's level that way. Down our line. By Construction. They also make like spray foam now. You can go around fence posts, but I don't know. You got to mix a bag and it expands. It doesn't look that strong. There's some people that did some testing on it. I'm just going to do it the old school concrete and wood post, and when I got to fix it, I got to change it. That's what I got to do. Some people may say, oh, that's stupid, but hey, you do your fence your way, I do my fence my way. What is going on, everyone? Welcome back. This is day 2 of installing the fence. Day 1 didn't go as well as I wanted it to. My body started letting me down after about 4 hours, but I pushed through for about 6 hours. Of course it rained, but the problem was the heat index was like 115. I went through about 12 bottles of water, and I took breaks more than the union does. So it was a very slow process. My wife says, you know, you're not 25 anymore. I was like, well, my brain says my body's 25. My brain says my brain's about 10 years old, but my body's starting to let me down as far as really pushing myself and getting as much done as I really plan on to. I'm a very task-driven, these frogs, man, task-driven person. And when I don't meet my task list, I get a little bit pissed off at myself. So I have to stop. I am getting older. It was actually just my birthday the other day. I was celebrating it, installing this fence. That's how I roll. But yeah, we've had a lot of rain again yesterday. I think we had about another, I would say 3 inches of rain in an hour. It flooded my property again. It's just a muddy mess, and it's making it hard to even just drill the holes. So things are moving slowly. But I want to show you what I got done the other day, so you kind of get a concept of what this fence is going to look like. So you can see what I'm doing here. So I got 4x4 posts. They're sticking out of the ground about 51 inches. I got a 3-inch reveal. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a black metal cap on that. Then I got 3 5/4 boards going down with a 10-inch spacing in between, a little bit less at the bottom. But I don't want it too low because I want to keep room underneath it to be able to weed whack around. And so what I have here, say this is my property. I got 250 feet going down this way. I got 40 feet started. I also have 190 feet going down that way, which would be down that side over there. So what I want to do is get this, it's not the scale, is I want to get this part here coming across started. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a temporary either 12 or 20 foot. I don't know if I'm going to do 2 10-footers yet for construction. I think a 12-foot fence would work. It's on sale now at Tractor Supply. You know, your tractor trailers and stuff for, you know, nothing's wider than 8.5 feet, which is your 102-inch max you're supposed to have on the road. But when my roof trusses coming and stuff, I may just have them drop it here and they have to, you know, drive it back with a law. But I may do 2 10-foot or 1 12-foot temporary construction fence across this on an angle here as my temporary construction opening. And what I want to do is where this temporary, you know, metal gate's going to be, eventually I want to do, you know, a nice entrance with lights and everything else. So I'm going to run the 4x4s across. I'm going to evenly space it out as far as the opening. I'm going to get my center mark here. I'm going to mount a post over there today and get a string across, and then I want to get my center mark, and then I want the sections after my gate opening, whether it's 20 feet or 12 feet, I want those sections to be evenly spaced going back so it matches at the end. So whether I have like 2-foot sections, 3-foot sections, or 6-foot sections at the end before I meet this post and this post over here, I want that to match. But for construction, I want to just put some temporary gates up and keep people from, you know, driving onto the property or at least try to stop them from driving onto the property. We know with a grinder you could cut that padlock and just get in here, but you know, once the house starts, it'll just help. You know, I got cameras mounted on the pole over there, so I have 2 cameras watching this property from Tactacam. I'm actually gonna have a video on that if it ain't out already. We're gonna just try to do our best here to prevent theft and everything else. So today I'm gonna try to get a little bit more recorded on video. We're gonna start with putting a post over there in concrete. We're gonna get a string line across here, and then we're gonna start getting these posts going across here. So let's get started here. It's still a little early. I don't want to run the drill yet, so I'm gonna get some things marked out. I'm gonna check elevation. You can see I got my laser set up here. I want to see the difference between this side and this side. So I am gonna have to put my mask on here soon because the bugs are just coming in my mouth and everything else. It's ridiculous when it's damp over here how many bugs are around here in my ears, the gnats. This is a self-leveling laser, so it gets started, it levels itself out, and it'll start spinning once it's level. And then you got your receiver here on a grade stick, and then I'll see when it's level, which I kind of got this set up already. So it's about 4'11.5" from grade here. Let's see what it is over here without trying this thing to be beeping in as I'm walking here. So we'll see what the difference is. So 4'11.5". You can see how much standing water and crap I have here. We're gonna have to bring some sand in here and kind of dry this up. Maybe I'll step on that frog when I'm over here. Jeez. Shut up. So it's about a 4-inch difference between there and there. I think because I want to continue this one down here because this elevation goes down the property here on a slight angle. Obviously I'm not going to run it completely level because if I do that at the end, you know, the bottom board will be, you know, 18 inches off the ground compared to like, you know, 8. So we're just going to follow that elevation down this side. So I think I'm going to let this run on an angle here that obviously when you do the, you know, the nice little opening here, the finished pillars in the middle or whatever we do, those I'm going to keep the elevation the same. You know, I'm not going to have those on an angle, but I think the fence itself, I think I'm going to run these boards on an angle. It's a 4-inch difference. That's minute. I mean, it's just gonna be slightly coming down on an angle off the elevation right now, so I may keep it up just a tad. When you usually have a sloping elevation, if it's not drastic, you can kind of keep it level, but I think I'm just going to follow the grade of the property, like I said, because then this one over here, we're going to follow the grade down there. I think that'll be fine. So 4 inches is not that bad. Really what I need here is I need about 2 weeks of no rain and this place will start drying out. But man, I'm just pulling in this morning and my tires are spinning. It's not a wet area. You saw the videos, hopefully you guys saw the videos here when I was doing all the grading. It was dry as can be. I was covered with dust. Now it's like a swamp. I mean, it's just every day, half an inch, inches of rain. It's got to stop. Like I was saying before, you know, I'm not gonna get upset anymore. What I get done today is what I get done. But I can tell you right now, people half my age, they would quit after about 30 minutes working with me because I'm tough and I push myself a lot. So I'm gonna take some ibuprofen here because I'm in a lot of freaking pain. I think if it wasn't for the clay soil here and trying to drill this crap out and it being so wet and getting stuck, it wouldn't be so bad. And yes, I'm getting new shirts made, so don't think that we're still RJM Fishtails. We are RJM Adventures, but I'm just working on getting some shirts made. Oh God, my back. So just like before, we're gonna do a 6-inch offset to center to keep our fence off the property line. So we're gonna make a mark here. And then we're just gonna put our first post right here. You can see this mud just gets stuck. It's a pain in the butt. Being the ground's so wet that I don't have to add much water when I do the concrete. God, this shit's getting too heavy for me. It's getting too old. So I'm doing about only a half a bag of concrete. These are 80-pound bags per hole basically, until I do like ones that really need to have a lot of support. Like the ones that's gonna hold the temporary gate up, then I'll use a full bag. Half a bag of concrete to save a little bit of concrete and have to pick it up. So that's pretty level. Looks pretty square to the property right there. I think that should be good. And I was putting that post in, I could feel the water down there. But we're gonna add a little bit of water to this so it sets up a little faster. So if you did fencing all the time, it would be worth the investment in a water tote, but they're not cheap. So all we do is to get water over here is I got a brand new garbage can. Not a huge one, just a smaller, I think this is probably 30 gallon. And we just kind of drilled some holes in the lid, put some night eyes in it so it holds it tight, and we just kind of filled it with water. And the water stays in there when we drive here, with the lid being on there. And we just kind of fill up the bucket a little bit, and that's all we need for water while we're working here. Inexpensive water tote, and it gets us through, you know, the amount of work that we do in one day for ourselves. So we're just gonna add a little bit of water to this, clean off the hole itself so there's no concrete sitting on it. That's about all we're gonna add because the hole's already wet as it is, perfectly level in both areas. Okay, we're gonna backfill this a little bit. We're gonna let this set up for a little bit, maybe like a half an hour or so. And then we're gonna put our string across from post to post, get a line on the ground, and get our center mark where we need to put our temp gate. I don't know, maybe I'll do a 20-foot opening, I'll see. And then gives me some room later. I have 20 feet that I can work with as far as my permanent fancy entrance, or fancier, whatever I end up doing. But it's gonna be this inexpensive metal gate from Tractor Supply for a while. All right, we got a 100-foot tape measure stretched across here, so the opening is about 70 foot between pole to pole, but we're gonna go with the 35-foot mark as our center. It's close enough. All right, so that's our center. Now we gotta decide how far we're gonna go back on each side. All right, so I decided to go with a 20-foot opening. So I got the center marked, we're 10 foot back. So I got a line marked here, and I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna do 5-foot spacings to center. This way over here and over there on that post, we'll have the same distance from the end. So it kind of matches side to side. So let's get this all marked out, and then we gotta start drilling some holes. We got our holes drilled that we needed for right now for the 4x4 post. We're gonna get these installed on both sides in concrete, and then my little guy Jared wants to help put some of the boards up, so I'll give him the nail gun. I'll lay out some lines, have my wife maybe help hold the other side, and he can do some nail guns, because I've just been tacking these boards on. Then I'm going back using deck screws to screw the boards on. I'm also using 16 gauge stainless steel trim nails that, you know, put these boards up to begin with, just to tack them in place to hold them, and then I can go back and screw them. So just so you know, they do make stainless steel 16 gauge finish nails, and I'm using it with my Milwaukee cordless 16 gauge straight nail gun, trim nail gun. So I'm just cleaning out a little bit of dirt at the bottom of the holes with the post hole digger. And one of your main things you want to do is, you know, these boards are 10 foot on center, so at least every other post, you want to make sure that you have your 10 foot to center on each of these posts, which would be right there. That's the most important thing. The ones in between, you can kind of, like, you know, be okay with that. So let's get this one mounted next with some concrete, and then we'll finish the other ones. Looks like I'm drunk. Here comes the sun and the heat. Just a little water. Just a little water.
But will the nail come flying at you?
No. All right, guys. Well, we got all the posts set up here right now. The little guy came over. He's dying to set these boards up. So I'm gonna let him and the missus, much as she doesn't want to be on camera, she's going to be on camera this time for a little bit. She's gonna help Jared put these boards up. I got some marks for him. Then I'm going to show him how to do the next mark, and they can set the next boards up. Then the final little boards at the end where the columns go the other way, the posts go the other way, I'm going to cut those pieces and put those on last. So this is what we're going to do. Grab a board.
That's Mommy's job. I'm doing the nail gun part.
Well, no, you both, because they're 10 foot, we both got to, you got to hold them, and also.
Oh, sorry.
And this is on bump mode. So you got the black mark here. Come here on this side. Come here.
I'm scared if it comes back at me.
Try not to step in. See this little mark here?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And there's that little center mark. You're just going to take the nail gun, pull the trigger, and just. That's it. Trigger right there. Nice and easy. Hold the trigger and just lightly touch it. Okay, one more. That's it. Now go to this side over here. Is we got to take a tape measure, then we need to measure down 10 inches and put a line, put a mark, put a mark, put a mark, put a mark, and then take the square and do a square line. Ow, my finger!
Oh. He was joking. Don't do that.
And we're going to go back and screw it. Jared and Meredith does the nailing.
Hey!
And then once all this sets up tonight, I'm going to come back here tomorrow with the gates, and then this concrete to be set up, and with all the side bracing from the boards, it's going to be strong even with just the 4x4s. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is where we're at. We got our 20-foot opening for our two 10-foot gates. We got both sides of the front done, and we got about 40 feet plus some other poles down the side over here done. On our next episode, we are going to install this temporary 2 gates here, and then we're going to continue down the line here as far as we can go. And then we're going to take a break for a while from fencing, and we are going to go fishing too. Appreciate all you guys stopping by. But I think that's where we're going to stop it here for now for the fencing. We'll do some more after these episodes, so we just get kind of caught up. And then we'll revisit the fencing here once we kind of get it finished. And we probably go and start installing paint here soon in our caps. But this kind of gives you a overall view of what we're going to be doing on here on Race Acres. And I can't wait later on to do something really cool here for the main entrance. I may leave it a 20-foot opening now that I look at it. I may just shrink it down with some posts, but leave those 4x4s on the end. We'll see. I think it's going to be some creativity on my part and how fancy I want to get, and then we'll definitely put some lights on it so as you come down the road here you can see into our entrance when we invite people over at night and have some fun. So that is it, guys. Had a little help from the little guy and the missus. He wanted to come do it. He didn't make it too long. He's like, man, it's hot out here, Daddy. I'm like, I know. I've been out here for 2 days already dealing with this, so it's hot. But it looks like the rain's gonna be coming soon again, and it looks like next time we're out here should be a dry day. So that's it, guys. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Appreciate you guys checking out these episodes here at Rice Acres. And as always, be safe on the water. I'll catch you on the water or see you here from Rice Acres. I'm gonna go cool off myself. Let's go home.